The U.S. Navy announced this month that it was restarting the Second Fleet to oversee the western Atlantic Ocean, including the North Atlantic and the U.S. East Coast. The decision comes after several years of tensions between NATO members and Russia, and several warnings from Western officials about growing Russian naval activity, including more sophisticated and more active submarines. NATO has responded in kind, with a special focus on anti-submarine warfare, a capability that has waned among Western navies since the end of the Cold War. For NATO members and other countries, augmenting anti-submarine abilities means not only adding ships but also advanced maritime patrol aircraft to scour the sea. A number of aircraft on the market fill this role, but the US-made P-8A Poseidon is among the most sophisticated. What it can do from the air, and tracking submarines, is almost like Steven Spielberg. Michael Faby, author of the 2017 book Crashback, about China-US tensions in the Pacific, told Business Insider earlier this year. "I went up on a training flight," he said, "and basically, they could read the insignia on a sailor's hat from thousands of feet above. It's not the aircraft itself, of course," he added, "but all the goodies they put in there." In 2004, the U.S. Navy picked the P-8A Poseidon to succeed the P-3 Orion, which had been in operation since the 1960s. The first Poseidon entered service in 2013, and more than 60 are in service now. The jet-powered P-8A is based on Boeing's 737 airliner, but it is specialized to withstand more strain, with aluminum skin that is 50% thicker than a commercial 737. Every surface is equipped for deicing. A commercial 737 can be built in 2 weeks, but a P-8A takes roughly 2 months. It has a ceiling of 41,000 feet, and, unlike the P-3, is designed to do most of its work at high altitude, where it has better fuel efficiency and its sensors are more effective. The Poseidon's top speed of 564 miles per hour is also 200 miles per hour faster than the older Orion, allowing it to get to its station faster and reposition more quickly. Among its sensors is the APY-10 radar, which can detect and identify ships on the surface and even pick up submarine periscopes. It can also provide long-distance imagery of ports or cities and perform surveillance along coasts or on land. An electro-optical/infrared turret on the bottom of the plane offers a shorter-range search option and can carry up to 7 sensors, including an image intensifier, a laser rangefinder, and infrared, which can detect heat from subs or from fires. The Poseidon's ALQ-240 electronic support measure acts as an electromagnetic sensor and can track radar emitters. Its advanced airborne sensor can do 360-degree scans on land and water. Other electronic surveillance measures allow it to passively monitor a wide area without detection. The original P-8A design did not include the magnetic anomaly detector that the P-3 carried to detect the metal in subs' hulls. The MADS exclusion was controversial, but the P-8A can deploy sonar buoys to track subs, and recent upgrades allow it to use new buoys that last longer and have a broader search range. It also carries an acoustic sensor and a hydrocarbon sensor designed to pick up fuel vapor from subs. The P-8A's cabin can have up to 7 operator consoles, and onboard computers compile data for those operators and then distribute it to friendly forces. The P-8A carries its own armaments, including Harpoon anti-ship missiles, depth charges, Mk-54 torpedoes, and naval mines. It can also deploy defensive countermeasures, including a laser and metallic chaff to confuse incoming missiles. A dry bay fire system uses sensors to detect fires on board and extinguish them, a P-8A pilot told the War Zone in early 2017. The P-8 is the best ASW localized/track platform in the fleet, one of the best maritime, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, assets in the world, with the ability to identify and track hundreds of contacts, and complete the kill chain for both surface and subsurface contacts if necessary, the pilot said. Russia's submarine fleet is a fraction of its Cold War size, but its subs are more sophisticated and have been deployed as US and NATO attention has shifted away from anti-submarine efforts. "We have found in the last 2 years we are very short of high-end anti-submarine warfare hunters," Royal Navy Vice Admiral Clive C.C. Johnston, commander of NATO's Allied Maritime Command, said in January. Along with interest in buying subs, you see an increased focus on other types of submarine hunter platforms, so frigates and maritime patrol aircraft and stuff like that, Magnus Nordenman, director of the Transatlantic Security Initiative at the Atlantic Council, told Business Insider earlier this year. In 2016, the UK announced it would buy 9 P-8As. In 2017, Norway announced it was buying 5. Those purchases are part of efforts by the US, UK, and Norway to reinvigorate the Cold War maritime surveillance network covering the sea between Greenland, Iceland, and the UK, known as the Jet Gap, through which Russian subs are traveling more frequently between their northern fleet base and the Atlantic. In June 2017, defense ministers from France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Spain, and Turkey agreed to cooperate on multinational maritime multi-mission aircraft capabilities. The U.S. Navy has increased its anti-submarine activities in Europe, leading with the P-8A. The U.S.'s 2018 defense budget included $14 million to refurbish hangars at Naval Air Station Keflavik in Iceland, where anti-submarine forces hunted German U-boats during World War II and patrols scoured northern latitudes during the Cold War. The U.S. Navy decided to leave Keflavik in 2006, but recent modifications would allow P-8As to be stationed there, though the Navy has said it doesn't currently plan to re-establish a permanent presence. Poseidons operate over the Black Sea to track the growing number of Russian subs there. P-8As based at Naval Air Station Sigonella in Italy have reportedly helped hunt Russian subs lurking near NATO warships and taken part in anti-submarine warfare exercises around the Mediterranean. These operations around Europe have also put Poseidons in close, sometimes dangerous, proximity to Russian aircraft. The Poseidon is becoming the next frontline, high-end maritime patrol aircraft, Nordeman said. Not only for the US, but increasingly for our allies in Europe, too. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more US rotations to Keflavik and deeper cooperation between the US, the UK, and Norway on maritime patrol aircraft operations in the Atlantic, he added. I would say this is just a first step. Like Russia, China has been investing in submarines, and its neighbors have growing interest in submarines and anti-submarine warfare assets, including the P-8A. India made its first purchase of the P-8I Neptune variant in 2009, buying 8 that deployed in 2013. New Delhi bought 4 additional planes in 2016, and India's Navy chief said in January that the service was looking to buy more. In early 2014, Australia agreed to buy 8 P-8As for $3.6 billion. They are expected to arrive by 2021, and Canberra has the option to buy 4 more. India and Australia are the only buyers in Asia so far, but others, including Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam, are interested. South Korea said in February it would buy maritime patrol aircraft from a foreign buyer. Boeing and Saab are reportedly competing for a contract worth $1.75 billion. There is a requirement need out here in the Asian region for P-8s, Matt Carrion, Boeing's head of sales for the P-8A, said in February, pointing to the high volume of shipping, threat of piracy, and the current political climate as reasons for interest. But overall sales have been underwhelming, likely in part because the Poseidon and its variants are relatively expensive, and their specialized features require a lengthy procurement process. U.S. Navy P-8As have also been more active around Asia, where their crews work with non-U.S. military personnel, take part in search and rescue operations, and perform maritime surveillance over disputed areas, like the South China Sea, where they have monitored Chinese activity. As in Europe, this can lead to dicey situations. In August 2014, a P-8A operating 130 miles east of China's Hainan Island had a close encounter with a Chinese J-11 fighter jet, which brought one of its wings within 20 feet of the P-8A and did a barrel roll over the patrol plane's nose. The jet also flew by the P-8A with its belly visible, to make a point of showing its weapons, the Pentagon said. While naval competition is heating up in the waters around Europe, some believe the Asia-Pacific region, home to 5 of the world's 10 most powerful militaries, will drive demand for assets like the Poseidon. I think the maritime mission is going to be as big as the land mission in the future, driven by Asian customers like Australia, India, Japan, Korea, and other countries will certainly play a role, Joseph Song, Vice President for International Strategic Development at General Atomics Aeronautical, told Reuters earlier this year.